Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom Kunti from Shanghai. I'm back for another Eurovision reaction video. Today I'm going to be giving you my reaction to the result of Eurovision 2022, the final, specifically the standings. So let's kiki. As always, I will use timestamps in the time bar and you can also find them in the description as well. Just to clarify, this video is specifically just going to be looking at the placings, so the rankings of people from 1 down to 25. I'm going to do a separate video for the televote and the jury because honestly, if I put everything together, it's just too long. I have too much information to take in and it's also harder for me to do. So I'm going to separate them today is just on the standings. Okay, so first of all, of course, the winners were Ukraine. Really fantastic for them. Their third win. I think that they're definitely going to come for that title from Ireland. I do hope they get it eventually because I do think they're the strongest country in Eurovision. Them and Sweden are definitely the strongest. So I kind of wish that the blue and yellow of Sweden and Ukraine was at the top of those all-time rankings. I think it'll happen in my lifetime, assuming I get to live long enough to see more Ukrainian and Sweden victories. But yeah, look, I love that Ireland have 7, but really we aren't the best country in Eurovision, so it still feels a little bit odd that we're at the top. And look, this Ukrainian victory has been very controversial. I've already done a video about it, so I'm not going to discuss it as much. I do really encourage anybody who hasn't seen already. Kalish Orchestra have released a music video to accompany Estonia, which they didn't release before Eurovision, which I think shows an immense amount of humility, and them being very conscious of not wanting to feel like they were emotionally manipulating the result. They have been sitting on this video, I think, for at least 5 or 6 weeks because it was filmed in Kiev. It must have been filmed before the pre-parties. Please, if you're watching this, haven't seen it, you can stop this video and go watch it. You can also see my reaction to it as well, but I would probably go watch it on your own first to form your own opinion. But yeah, look, if you still have issues with them winning after that, then I think maybe you need to go lie down in some grass for a couple of days. I've already talked about some. I'm just going to give bullet points, my thoughts about it. First of all, the song is really strong. Even if you don't like it, it is this incredible mix of fusion and traditional elements that was already third in the odds before the war started. Ukraine wouldn't have won with a bad song. They just wouldn't. I know people said they couldn't have said anything. I'm sorry, I disagree. If they'd sent something like Razom Nash Bahato or some other of their weaker entries, they wouldn't have won. The reason this won is because it was very evocative of Ukrainian culture and humanity and values, and people saw that, and then that mixed with all the strife that they're going through, they got the solidarity vote. So yeah, this song is very strong. Point number 3, a testament to how strong the song is. This, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the highest ever ranking rap song in the OJE, which is pretty much like 90% gay, and very few of the Eurovision and gay community enjoy rap. Rap songs usually do absolutely horrendously bad. And this came, I think it was 11th or 10th in the OJE. It got 90 so points, which is really high. I think the only other rap song that's done remotely good is Vok Min It Dem Popo from Austria, but I don't know how that did in the OJE this year. I know that didn't qualify. For a rap song to as well, I think it's pretty unsurprising that a lot in the Eurovision community don't like the song as much because there's definitely less inclinations towards rap in the community. Thingy Bob made this point much better than me. Thingy Bob is one of the regular commenters here. I'm going to put up his comment that I thought was really lovely on my Stephanie video. I'll just read it out. That was stunning, just stunning, and it was totally the right result. Eurovision was created in 1956 as a way of uniting Europe. On Saturday night, Europe proved to itself just how united it is. Absolutely perfection comment. I couldn't have said it better myself. That is the entire point of the competition in 1956 was to unite Europe. That's the point of it. What more uniting in Europe thing could you possibly get than everybody in pretty much every single country coming out and showing that we support one of our countries that is being destroyed right now? If the organizers of the competition would be so proud of us if they saw what was done on Saturday night. Really lovely. That's the point in the competition. We get very wrapped up in who wins. A big lesson for me actually this year is not getting so wrapped up in who wins. I remember early on in the season being quite stressed by the fact that Italy were, at that point, everyone was talking about Italy winning. And I was quite stressed the fact that I didn't like the song and it was a winning song I wouldn't like. I'm just going to chill out a little bit more next time. And my final point is perspective. Look, there's people right now. I'm going to put up another comment from that same video. The people in Ukraine right now. You can just read the comment. We just need a little bit of perspective. Ukrainians are in bomb shelters right now. They're fleeing the country. Their family members are dying. They have friends and family who are serving and they're worried about if they're going to come back alive. we just need a little bit of perspective, and I just like calm down. Again, if you are really, really agitated from this, just take a break from Eurovision from a week and then come back and just chill a little bit out. And that is the end of that. Now let's talk about the rest. Now, the other thing, that point I was making earlier about not focusing so much on the number one, for me, the real fun thing as well is who's going to get top 10. I think that needs to be a little bit more of an emphasis in the community is, why getting excited about the top 10 and not just focusing on the winner, because I love the top 10 this year. I love how many stories come out from it. Of course, the biggest story is gotta be the UK coming second place. Absolutely and utterly wow. I have a lot of British Eurofans who are in the comment section here, obviously because I'm an English speaking language channel. It would make sense that there are more Irish, UK and Australians here. And the anguish that they've gone through over the last years, because I've been running this channel since 2019. Oh my God, just the pain. Even Michael Rice, I like Michael Rice's song, but God, it was god awful, to be honest. James Newman, lovely guy, but again, just not up to the level necessary for a Big Five country who's automatically qualifying. I do think that the Big Five need to put in that extra effort because they have bigger music industries, they have a larger population to choose from, more songwriters, more money, plus they're qualifying. I think that there's a responsibility for them to really put a best foot forward, and what a foot to put forward this year. Sam Ryder, absolutely fantastic. I'm still not 100% sure how much of this was him and how much of it was the BBC. BBC's definitely going to try and take credit, and for them, they're going to really have to back this up next year, because if they come back next year with an absolute flop, it really does show that this was all Sam Ryder. I feel it was kind of maybe 80-90% him. His energy, his positivity, just him as an actual performer, his singing ability, songwriting, everything. So yeah, I would hope that the UK have kind of learned some lessons from this. Obviously the biggest thing is that we hope that the British public will finally change their tune and think that everyone hates them. I'm going to put up this graphic, and anytime the British public say, oh, Europe hates us because of Brexit, we can show this graphic. I've actually lived in the UK for 7 years. The reason they have this mentality of everyone hating them is that is what a lot of the newspapers in the UK peddle. They will have this common enemy of the EU, and they kind of like to pit the British public against them. It's like this brainwashing campaign for like 10 plus years. It sells newspapers. It's a story that with a villain in it. And unfortunately, it's really, really permeated into the British culture, and I really noticed that. It's actually one of the reasons I left, unfortunately, the UK. I just felt it was a little bit too poisonous. I love living in the UK for the majority of it. I have a lot of super close British friends. Yeah, the media there are like the most toxic I've ever experienced in my life. It's really, really sad. And yeah, it gets harder to peddle that narrative when you see so many people coming out and voting for the UK. So this is brilliant. This is a massive improvement and step forward. If after last year you had offered me UK left side of the scoreboard, I would have absolutely eaten up. Top 10, I would have grabbed it off you. Top 5, I would have peed my pants. Top 3, top 2, just sensational. And I really do think this puts them in the conversation to host next year. If Ukraine aren't able to host, the most logical thing would be runner-up. Plus, they're part of the Big Five. Plus, I'm quite sure that the conversations that Ukraine had with the EBU when they submitted that they were going to participate this year, they would have discussed a backup plan for hosting. I think it would have been Germany and UK. I don't really see the logic in letting the country who came last host, even though Germany has a big infrastructure and they will be able to host amazingly. UK makes so much sense to me if they want it. If they don't want it, Sweden have come out and said that they want to host. If I couldn't love Sweden anymore in the competition, the fact that they are not in the Big Five and they want to host anyway and pay for the competition, what further proof do you need of how much Sweden loves it? To be honest, Iceland also, I'm 99% sure, would also have offered to host if they had a big enough stadium. They don't. But Iceland are really, really, really lovely in that regard and really massive Eurovision fans. Okay, Spain coming third, delighted. Again, another country that has, this is their best result. So that result for the UK was their best result since, I think they came second in 98. They came third in 2002, I think. So best results, it was Jessica Garlick. I can't remember what year it was. This is Spain's best result since 1995. That is scary, and it wasn't their best. It was best result by like quite a while. Ruth Lorenzo came 10th in 2014. Yeah, 2014, and then Quédate Conmigo was also 10th, I think, in 2012. But largely since then, Spain have been absolutely flopalicious. This is brilliant. Chanel so deserved. I saw some people saying that they didn't think that she'd do well with the jury. She did. She got a lot of 12s. This was so deserved. Totally put together package. This is my biggest jumper. I haven't finished my top 10 rankings yet, but now I've downloaded all the songs I want to listen to. I'm going to listen to all of them, so they've had an equal amount of time. But this has jumped from being, I think it was my number 21. Right now it's sitting in my top 5 because that performance for me is gotta go down in Eurovision history as, I would say, the best performance in Eurovision history within its genre of like a show. Like, I would consider this a different genre of performance than, for example, Constracta, who I also loved. So in that real show, concert, big pop star style performance, this is number 1 of all time. Benidorm Fest was one of the best national finals this year. I'm looking forward to Benidorm Fest so much. Great songs are going to be submitted to it. People are really going to be invigorated in both the UK and Spain in knowing that they can get a good result. This like possibility, doubt in their mind, will we ever do well? Is it possible? That is just out the window. Plus Spain and UK being top 3, France and Italy being top 3 last year. In the last 2 years, we've had 4 of the big 5 in the top 3. Germany obviously won in 2010 and came 4th in 2018. So since 2018, all of the big 5 have been in the top 4. So that's great. I think it just dispels all those worries that they can't make it. I like this thing that they brought in recent years. I'm not sure what year it started, where they show a minute of the song in the semifinals. I think that's been good to kind of just make people familiar for the song and just build a little bit of hype. I thought Spain were quite clever this year also in releasing some snippets of the song. I felt like they leaked a couple of things on Tinder. I think that's clever. I think it lets people get a little bit of a feel for the song so they get excited and know not to go to the toilet or go get a coffee when it's coming on. Get a coffee? Who drinks coffee that late? But you know what I mean. Well, actually, our Aussie, all the people in Australia were drinking coffee. I would have had a coffee at 3 a.m. in China if I had been able. I'm so glad I'm not doing my televote and jury together. Okay, 4th of Sweden. I never resonate with this song, but I have massive respect for Cornelia. I really love her. I think she's a beautiful person. Great result for them. I never thought this was in the running to win. I always thought his jury score would be good, but I just didn't think the televote. They did well in the televote. They came 6th. So that's not bad at all. Interesting to see what Melfest is going to look like next year. Yeah, I felt it was quite different this year. So what are they going to be doing? Also, Sweden absolutely and utterly destroyed their semi. Like, they annihilated everybody. I will do separate videos for the semifinals, by the way. Of course, the semifinals are an absolute and utter shit show. So they definitely each one needs its own video, absolutely, definitely. But yeah, really happy for Cornelia. She's been such a great representative for Sweden. In 5th, I absolutely adore Constracta. Really happy with this result, and that Serbia had been rewarded for sending something very risky, artistic, thoughtful. This really resonated with people, even outside of the Balkans. It wasn't just the Balkans who voted for it. She got points in the televote from every single country in the semi and 34 of the countries in the final. So this wasn't just a Balkan or former Yugoslav thing. Everybody resonated with this. So I really love that. I was a little bit sad that they didn't get to put her graphics up because of the issues with the stage. They weren't able to put the lyrics up, so she had to have them on the screen. I was a little bit sad about that because I think that would have really been really cool, or if they'd done had some like slightly classier effects like Italy had in 2017. But still, overall, this is a brilliant performance. Really iconic. I think this is my favorite Serbian entry ever. I really love Mullet. So I probably need to let it sink in a little bit longer. Oh no, actually. Well, yeah, technically it is, because Lana Moja was Serbia and Montenegro, which is in my top 5 Eurovision songs of all time. So yes, I suppose it depends how technical you get. If Lana Moja is a Serbia and Montenegro song, then Constracta is probably my favorite Serbia song. Again, a really nice woman representing her country in a really lovely way. Quite like a motherly figure this year. Okay, in 6th place was Italy. Again, this is something I didn't particularly resonate with. This was 30th in my top 40 video. I think it actually dropped down even lower. It probably went as low as 36 or so. But their performance that I saw in the dress rehearsal elevated it back up. So I probably think it would finish around the 30 mark. Their performance in the final, I have to admit, wasn't great. I was quite surprised because their dress rehearsal performance I saw on Friday was, oh wow, it was just absolutely brilliant. It was really magical, and it convinced someone like me who wasn't really into the song. It kind of won me over. So I was a little bit surprised that their final performance was so off. Vocally, in terms of synchronization, I wonder, was Blanco a little bit nervous? But yeah, after they performed, they really bombed down the results. But this whole thing about a host being cursed is a little bit silly. I think this probably would have been higher, maybe with a better performance. But really happy for Italy, and they always sang quality, so well deserved to them. In 7th place, we had 2nd place in the televote, which was Moldova. really great for them. This is one I totally got wrong because I saw the rehearsals and this just looked flopalicious to me. But I would definitely say I underestimated the power of being in a party atmosphere is one thing. So people having Eurovision parties and being in the room with lots of people and people being in the room, and also the effects of alcohol. If you saw my live stream, I did a full cardio aerobic workout to this, because when you've had a couple of beers and you're singing and dancing along and doing your little bounce to this and doing hey ho, let's go, folklore and rock and roll, yeah, this really came alive. Another amazing televote result from Moldova. They really know how to like kill the televote. So impressive. Still confused by why Romania and Moldova have such very, despite being so close culturally, have such very different success in Eurovision in the last 5 years. 8th was Greece, fantastic result for them. Quite a few 12s in the jury, which I think we kind of thought may happen. Beautiful staging by Amanda. I think she represented Greece really well. Really classy, elegant staging. This is 2 top 10s in a row for Greece. Personally, I never saw this in the running to win because I just couldn't see how the televote was going to be there. And her televote wasn't too bad actually. She was 12th in the televote, but she only had 57 points. And I think 12 of those would have been from Cyprus. Oh no, 10 from Cyprus. Oh wow. Even Cyprus gave their 12 to Ukraine. Oh wow, that is powerful. 12 from Albania. Okay, in 9th place was my girl, Maro. You know, I absolutely adore her. This has been one of my biggest rises. This will definitely finish my top 10 this year. Unfortunately, I need to pick who I'm going to kick out to put her in. Really happy. I have to admit, I was surprised by this. I thought her being drawn 3rd in the running order was going to kill her chances at the top 10. But the jury really kept looked out for her, which is what the jury's meant to do. They are meant to slightly counter this heavy preference for the televote towards the second half. She also got televote points as well. I was really anxious she was going to get 0, so that was a massive relief for me. Love this song, really beautiful, lovely girl. Portugal, 12th last year, 9th this year. Wow, what a streak they're going on. And then they won as well in 2017. They are just, wow, really doing well. I'm so happy to see it. I had this love-hate relationship with Festival de Canção. I still cover it every year, even though I get so much abuse for how much I don't get a lot of the songs there. It's still one of the things I look forward to in this kind of like sadomasochistic way. Yeah, brilliant. And then top 10, I'm so delighted about this. I think I would have been really sad. I'll talk about Steen in a second, but I'm so glad that Subwoofer made it really my number 1 this year. I thought they've brought so much happiness and joy to this whole season, not just with the song, but with their engagement with the fans and the community, and just all the content they've put out, like little videos and kind of like jokes, skits and stuff like that, in the same way that City Zieni has as well. Just the 2 of them have been brilliant. They've actually been very close to each other and doing lots of videos together with each other, which is really lovely, seeing that kind of like extra engagement and just making the whole season more fun and happy. Really brilliant. I'm so proud of them. Now, the songs outside the top 10, I'll go through a little bit quicker, but I will spend a little bit of time on Steam because, of course, she is in, I think, obviously high up in my top 10 still. I would have loved, considering her name is Steen and she's got tenor name, how poetic would it have been if she came 10th? It would have been so good. I'm saying I want her to push out Subwoofer. I don't know who I push out. I just would have loved if she'd come 10th or join 10th. Like last year, Bulgaria and Greece were joined 10th. That would have been fantastic and really poetic. She did a beautiful, classy performance. She had a really difficult slot because she was between Spain and Ukraine, who ended up coming 1st and 3rd. So that's a really tough spot to be in. I felt she really held her own. Really classy staging. The lasers would have been cool. I don't know if it massively would have changed her position too much. I don't think that she would have won if she sent the laser staging. The staging they sent was very good at making her stand out for being very vulnerable and intimate, because the lasers didn't massively fit this narrative of a vulnerability song because it's quite showy and flashy. As cool as it looks, I don't know if it matches the mood as much. So I think it might have done a tiny bit better, but I don't think it would have done that much better. I thought their staging was very evocative. 12th was Poland. People were talking about this winning before. I kind of kept my mouth shut about it, but this was never going to win. I don't think song-wise this had a chance to win because it was a little bit too camp and kitsch. Really great song. Love the Poland are so high up. I think this again is one song that is definitely going to be in my top 10. My top 10 is going to be packed. Don't worry, there will be 10 in my top 10. Really happy for them. I hope that Poland can keep up this momentum. I love the staging. It was very over the top this year. I really enjoyed it. I thought that I like that like fantasy colourful, cinematic Lord of the Rings style over the topness. I love the dancers with the rags running around the place. I thought it was extremely entertaining. His vocals were flawless every time. I think I saw this performed in total maybe 6 or 7 times, and every single time his vocal was just perfect. Really, really, really so impressive. I think singing this song was absolutely no effort for him whatsoever. He could just do it with his, he could just do it so easily. So really happy for Poland, you know, and great to see them mirroring their success that they have in Junior Eurovision. They're very strong in Junior Eurovision, and now they're doing much better in adult Eurovision. Okay, 13th was Estonia. Stefan with Hope, really great closer to the show with a really lovely message. I think it did really well considering that they had so many clips with their staging. Generally, I think being last in the running order is not necessarily as good as you think. I do think there's a slight element of fatigue when people get to the end. You've got the most viewers, but I do think there's a slight tiredness. I know I was feeling like slightly just emotionally drained by the time we got to the 25th song, but he did really well. I'm really happy for him. And I'm kind of happy that him and Victor Krohn were able to stick it to Uku for being called not real Estonians. Those two qualified and Uku didn't. Okay, in 14th place was Monica Leo. I was so happy by how well this was received. Now, obviously Lithuania gets a huge diaspora voting. They've got huge populations in UK, Ireland, and Norway. But this got points from a lot of other places, so it wasn't just diaspora. Really, really happy for Monica. She's so charismatic, and again, another person like Achman, who every single time I saw this performance, it was absolutely not a perfection. They had lots of issues with the sun affecting their staging as well. She qualified quite comfortably, which I'll talk about in my semi video. But yeah, really pleasantly surprised by how she did. Really lovely song, first full song in Lithuanian. I think a lot of encouraging results for people singing their native languages. One, obviously UK singing their native languages, but that's not, I don't know if that particularly counts, to be honest. We're talking about non-English languages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the top 11. That's crazy. And let's keep counting. 8, again, doesn't particularly count. Funnily enough, there's almost no one in the bottom. It's like if you sang in your own language, it's almost like you had an advantage, because going later, other than France, I suppose, is one of their languages, and Iceland, we've got almost no one in the bottom who was singing in their own language. So that's quite interesting that it seemed like if you sang in your own language, you're pretty much in the left side of the scoreboard. So 15th was Australia. A little bit disappointed his televote being so low. It was actually quite high in the semis. I think this is more just like, I have the same kind of feeling where I really, really like this song, but it's just not in my top 10. I think a lot of people will probably have that they'll really respect it and really enjoy it, but maybe it was kind of in their top 10, but kind of low. Obviously it has some fans who really love it, but yeah, I thought his staging was really, really dramatic. He did a fantastic performance. I felt this is a real great bounce back after not qualifying last year. And then Azerbaijan, in case you don't know, there is quite a few issues. Now I don't want to get too much in it yet because that hasn't been confirmed yet, but there are being like some small investigations done in some vote irregularities. He got 0 in the televote in the entire semi, which I'll go into my semi video because that is going to be massively controversial. And he only got 3 points in the final, 3 points from Georgia, who are obviously neighbors, 0 points from Armenia as expected. They're only other super close neighbors, so he looked gutted on camera. Yeah, I still think this is a great song, you know. There's going to be investigations and whatnot, but I enjoyed the song. It has fallen out of my top 10 now. It was my number 7. It's fallen out of my top 10 more just because lots of people have risen up, like Spain and Portugal. So it's more that he's just been pushed down for that reason. But I still really enjoyed this song. I still listen to it. I thought the performance in the final was very well sung, very well performed. So like that 0 in the televote I find very strange. I don't think we've ever had 0 in a televote before in a semi. It's just a little bit odd. I'm wondering were they almost like disqualified from the again, this is me just speculating, but I just don't see how a song that was like that good could get 0 in the televote. It does seem a little bit odd to me. It almost seems like, again, this is speculation, but that if they found some irregularities and instead of disqualifying, they just said we're wiping out your televote. I don't know, or like cancelling it out or something. It just looks really, really, really strange. I don't particularly get it. especially with that ending with the lights and the big notes that like nobody would throw them a single point, because keep in mind it's pretty easy to get points, at least some points in the semi-finals, because there's much less countries. In semi-final 2 there were only 17 countries that could be voted for, and there's 19 countries voting in total. It's just, yeah, mathematically it's weird they wouldn't get a single point, but we have to wait and see about what happened there. Switzerland 17, now this is someone who got 0 in the televote in the final. In case you haven't seen, really lovely that Sam Ryder went up and gave him a big hug after he got that 0, because he was very upset about it. This boy's taken so much shit, honestly. I think it's been borderline bullying. Look, I know he was selling non-NFTs at the start of the season, and people kind of like jumped on that as just a reason to absolutely and utterly rake him through the mud. Yeah, it was too much. I think we do need to look at this kind of like bullying aspect of the community. I think it's okay to like a couple of jokes and a couple of memes, but it's literally just been like full on hate towards him. He qualified fair and square. He did get televote points in the semi-final, even though people said that they thought that he got 0. So yeah, look, we need to broaden our horizons a little bit, that there are other genres of music that particularly we might not like. I know some of the people in this channel do like it. I didn't enjoy it, but I definitely respected the song. I thought his staging was very classy in the end. He had Sacha Jean-Baptiste helped him out with the staging. So it was a very classy package. You know, they qualified again. This is 3 qualifications in a row. So yeah, I think a little bit more credit needs to be thrown their way. 18th was Romania. Great for them to do so high considering they're second in the running order. Really happy to see them back in the final for the first time since 2017. I really love this performance. It's grown on me massively. It's not going to break into my top 10, but it's definitely gone quite a lot of places, probably sitting in my top 15. I think this is largely down to him. I don't know if the Romanian broadcasters had some sort of professional epiphany in the last year. I think from what I understand, he wrote the song, he's obviously performed the song, he did the choreography as well. So I think this is a bit of a one-man talent show that we're seeing. I think that the broadcasters probably a little bit relieved. I don't know how much of the credit they're going to take. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, so maybe they were contributing to it, but the vibes I'm getting is that this is him. 19th, Belgium. Again, another person who took a lot of hate. People saying he got no televote points. He did get televote points. He actually got quite a lot of televote points in the semi-final. This is, if you're going to take the risk of sending something that's really niche and different, you can't get benefits from it. I thought he performed very well. I thought he sang very well. I would have liked if his performance had a little bit more energy. The staging concept, again, for me, for Belgium was quite weak. Really, it was just standing there with some kind of slightly cool Bond-esque LEDs, which we couldn't see because of the sun. This has been now a couple of years for me that the Belgian staging has been quite weak. I thought that Blanche's staging was fine. It was a little bit screen-savery. I always forget that boy's name. Oh, what's that boy's name who had the song with the terrible chorus? Elliot. Elliot's staging was an absolute and utter hot mess. Senek's staging was the hottest of messes. Big, burning dumpster fire of staging. So Belgium really have a bit of a staging crisis. They got through because they had a great vocalist with a very original sound, this fusion of kind of like Bond song into Justin Timberlake song into slightly gospel song. So that really cool, interesting mix, which got points from both jury and televote. But yeah, Belgium need to sit down and say, what the hell are we going to do about this staging issue? Because their staging is gotta be one of the worst in the competition. Okay, in 20th, we had Armenia. Again, another country who it's great to see back in the final, first time since 2017, and mirroring their success in Junior Eurovision. This song really grew on me. You know, it wasn't the Kami 2.0 that I was hoping for, but I think Rosalind did really, really well. Really lovely staging concept with the reveals into the big final reveal. She managed to rip open the door in the final, which I was very anxious about. Because in the semi-final she had to pull it twice. Really happy then for Finland. Finland did better than I suspected. I thought Larry's vocals in the dress rehearsal for the final were unbelievably good. I think it's a morning thing maybe. He sounded so good, but then it was back to the old Larry in the final. His vocals were off again. But happy that Finland are doing well. I definitely am glad that the song that won UMK qualified, because I thought UMK was really brilliant this year. I'm really looking forward to UMK. Next year, I will probably do a video on my favorite national finals of the year. And spoiler alert, UMK is definitely going to be in the running. Czechia coming 22, really sad about this. Just opening the show, this song did so well in the semis, it came 4th. Czechia being really unlucky with their draws, and 2016 being drawn 2nd, 2019 being drawn 3rd. and now being drawn first. The EBU producers will not forget this. If they are really in the running to win, they were not in the running to win this year, but if they can come with a song like Miklas Joseph, again, Lie to Me, that is up in the favorites, the EBU will definitely remember that, of this kind of sacrifice that the Czech Republic has had to do 3 years now, and they will give them a good running order. Miklas Joseph was drawn second half, so that wasn't really an issue then. I think he was 14th in the running order. I actually looked it up because I was checking, was he given a favour? There was a slight favour in the fact that they were drawn last in their semi-final. That was definitely, I think, the EBU trying to make up a little bit for those previous years. But yeah, I hope they've earned a little bit of running order credit now, which hopefully they can spend in the future when they've got something that's a bit more competitive. 23rd was Iceland. These were 10th qualifiers from their semi. Another really lovely song in a national language. I thought their staging was really beautiful. I think this qualified because of how successful their staging was, and also they're just performing very well. If you look at the songs that didn't qualify from semi one, who they kind of nipped out, this jumped ahead because of a solid, clean staging concept. France in 24th, again, really sad for them. This is a little bit underwhelming. Very disappointing. I wasn't expecting them to do this badly. One thing that I'll say is all those Spanish people leaving me messages about Tangiers all season. In case you don't know, there's been this campaign of people leaving messages on, I presume, other Eurovision YouTubers as well, saying Chanel rigged it and Tangiers are the real winners. If you need proof that Tangiers would have flopped, this is it. Finland is better than Tangiers. Absolutely, I will argue that until the day comes. There's definitely people who prefer it, but I'd say if you put a poll up, the majority would say that Finland is better, and this still came second last. There is no way that Tangiers would have gotten third. I don't think they would have gotten left at the scoreboard. I think they would have been either the same as Finland or worse. I think they would have come last. So hopefully we can put to bed this whole Tangiers thing. They got a massively inflated televote from Galicia, and obviously Galicia can't vote for themselves in the final. So yeah, people were just delusional about this song. My God, I had to delete so many comments about it all season. Anyway, I'm digressing. Really sad for them. They were gutted when their televote result came out. I don't know what went wrong. I think it was more just me personally. This is a song I really respect, but I probably would have put it maybe in my songs that were in the final rankings. I probably would have put like 15th. So I think that's probably what happens. A lot of people liked it. It was in their middle, but just not enough people had it in their top 10. And I think that was like just across the board, a respect for the song not being the bottom, but just not strong enough to be in their tops. That's how I would sum it up. And then the last place was Germany. I thought maybe he might be able to not come last. I'm surprised this did so poorly with the jury. It got 0 points to the jury. I was surprised, but it got 6 points to the televote. Where did those points come from, the televote? 2 from Estonia, 2 from Switzerland, 2 from Austria. Really surprised. I thought this would have, if anything, the opposite. I thought this would have gotten maybe 30-40 points from the jury and nothing from the televote. So yeah, really strange for him. I thought he did a great performance, but really, you guys know I've been very open about the fact that NDR didn't rig. Well, it's not rigging, but it's a form of rigging that they left out E-Callboy, deemed them ineligible to compete in the national final, despite a very large public outcry. I think that campaign had over 130,000 signatures asking them to reconsider. They selectively chose, which I think you could say is rigged, the national final. It wasn't rigging because they didn't rig within which those 6 won, but they rigged it from the sense that I think it was quite clear that E-Callboy would have won. And I think E-Callboy, who knows how they would have done, but it definitely wouldn't have gotten 6 points in the televote. We know that E-Callboy would have done very well in the televote. So I think that they would have been somewhere more in the middle. Overall, really great show. There's so many songs I really adore and so many artists who've made a huge impact on me. I will go into more detail about the televote and the jury. I am so glad I didn't do that in this video, because at this point in time, it is 47 minutes. Hopefully by the time I've edited it, you're watching a video that is significantly shorter. But I will go into the jury and the televote, looking at that in a little bit more detail. Please leave a comment in the comment section down below, letting me know who you thought. Who do you think did better than you expected? Who did worse? And thank you so much for watching. I'm seeing another Eurovision reaction video very soon. Goodbye.